What's going on, guys? And welcome to Rabbit's Used Cars. I know what you're saying. Damn it, Rabbit, you got another Ford. But there's a special reason for this. My buddy brought this thing by, and I have a confession to make. I kinda like these early Mustangs. I got a soft spot for them. I've never personally owned one. I've sold a few over the years for people. Actually got two really good stories about Mustangs, especially early Mustangs. A little bit about this one though. 1966 GT in frost silver. Pony interior, black as my heart. I love it. Good looking car. Good looking car. These cars were just great cars. You know, these cars straight out of the gate, straight from the New York's World's Fair when these cars were debuted, they killed and been popular ever since. And, you know, the market on these things, you know, they go up and down just like everything else. And right now, they're actually on the up right now. Coupe cars, convertibles, fastbacks have always been crazy hot. But every time I see these cars, I think about two things. And one is pretty recent, and one was way back. Actually, back in my high school days. So, working at the parts store, I had a good friend of mine that I went to school with that worked at the parts store with me. I'm not gonna say any names or anything like that, but he had a red 67 Mustang Coupe. Really nice car, V8, you know, it was an automatic car. Had a nice set of mags on it. Nothing special, just a cool high school cruiser. And it was a father-son project. This guy was going through some issues, and he had some issues, he had some drug problems, and he had some problems. And I'll leave it at that. You know, he was on that downward spiral. And you don't want to ever see a friend or someone you remotely care about going through that. He was close to his dad, but his parents were separated, and his dad moved off. And him and his dad built this car, and you know, he drove it every day. He came up to me and he goes, "I want to sell that Mustang." And I'm like, "You don't want to sell that car." And he goes, "Man, I really want to sell it." And he said, "I need the money." And you know, keep in mind, you know, this wasn't a perfect car, but it was still a 67 Mustang, either way twisted, V8 car, running driving. He said, "Man, I really need to sell it." I said, "What do you need to sell it?" Man, he said, "I just got things." And you can tell, you know, he was having issues. I'll leave it at that. Well, a week or two goes by. We're standing outside of work, smoke a cigarette, hanging out. "Man, I just want to sell this car." And he said, "I really am. I just want to sell it. I need some cash." I said, "How much you need?" You know, this is when my flipping was starting. You know, I wasn't rolling in the dough, but it's doing all right. He told me, he said, "I'll sell it to you for $800. And I literally, now keep in mind, that was a long time ago. But even then, is that thing stolen price? And the first thing that popped in my head, geez, could you imagine the flip? This car, I probably could have sold it $4,500 instantly. Then, now I could have sold it for $14,000. You know, it had a few rust issues, but it was a nice car. And I said, "You're telling me you're going to sell that Mustang and hand me the title for 8 $100 bills?" He goes, "Yeah." I bought it. Actually, I didn't have $800. I had to borrow $200 from my old man, and I bought it. I took the car, and I took it to my shop. And you get those feelings. And you know, I was young. I always wanted to make $1. And I knew I could literally make 2 phone calls and sold that car like that. But I didn't. I didn't drive it. And it's for social media, so I didn't take pictures with it. Nobody even knew I had it. Matter of fact, still had his tag on the back of it. And he was so flaked out, he didn't know. His stuff was still inside it. I mean, it was crazy. A couple months goes by, he doesn't show up at work. Just kind of goes AWOL. I called, check on him. Actually, I remember I paged him. And his pager had been turned off. You know, and try to get hold of him, can't get a hold of him. He's not coming to school. You know, what's going on? Well, I'm standing out in front of the AutoZone, you know. It was raining outside, but I just put a set of wiper blades on a lady's car. Never fails if you work in a parts store. I don't know what the deal is about wiper blades in the rain. So I'm standing outside. But because of that, though, I could put on a set of wiper blades faster than a cat can lick its ass. So I did learn something from AutoZone. But I was standing outside, and a car pulls up. I'm thinking, great, this guy needs a set of wiper blades. He gets out, and he goes, "You Rob?" That's what my shirt says. So, yeah. And he goes, "My son sold you a Mustang." I said, "He sure did." He goes, "I want to buy it back." And he said, "Right now, we're getting him some help." And he explained to me what we already knew. And I told him what I paid for it. Exactly. And I said, "And that's exactly." He said, "Well, how much do you want for it?" And I said, "Give my money back, and you can have it back." So the next day, he met me at the shop and got his Mustang back. The cool part of this story is, you know, fast forward years and years down the road, we're hosting a Mustang show. And there's a red 67 Mustang coupe sitting there. Made a million of them. Good looking car. And there was my buddy and his dad there with that car. You know, I've made a lot of good moves, and I've knocked some home runs on cars. And I could have knocked it slap out of the park and bought the sweetest C4 Corvette ever selling that Mustang. But I'm kind of glad I didn't. So that's one Mustang story. Now that I got you by the heartstrings. So I got another one now. I'm going to pull you in even more. It's how these work. I had a guy listening to the radio show. Actually, he calls me. He gets my number from a friend of a friend, like 7 Ways to Rob. Actually, writing to the radio station, calls me up. He goes, "Hey, is this Rob Pitts?" I said, "Yes, sir. What can I help you with?" He goes, "I need help with my baby." "What's that?" He goes, "Well," he said, "You got a minute?" "Sure, riding down the road." Got him on speakerphone, just riding down the road. He goes, "My first car was a 1965 Mustang." I said, "Awesome." He said, "I bought it in 1974. I want to restore that car." I said, "That's great." You know, and I said, he said, "I want somebody to help me with the restoration on this car." And I said, "Well, I'll be more than happy to give you a hand or, show you where you need to go, what you need to do." He goes, "I'm a real busy guy," and he explained his work and whatnot. "I want you to build this car for me like you would want it. All I ask is that you keep it the original color and build it like you would build it." So the first thing that popped in my head, we'll put a small block Chevrolet in it. And he said, "No, I want to keep it Ford." I said, "All right, well, tell me about your Mustang." And he goes, "Man, it's a 1965 Mustang GT." I said, "Sweet." He said, 289, 4-speed, Rangoon red, got the white stripes, black pony interior. And I'm thinking to myself, man, this is going to be an awesome car. Hell, I love it. He said, "Hey, you got somebody at the tows? Here's my address. Just come pick it up. The car's been sitting for a while." I got off the phone with him. We do the radio show. Next day, shot him a text. "Hey, I want to send somebody to come pick that car up. Kind of curious what it's going to look like." And hands down, this has got to be the rustiest, roughest 1965. I've never seen a car so rough that a man loved so much. I mean, he met his wife in this car. He drove it, through college. And apparently he went to college in hell because the car is demolished. And I mean, when I say rough, and we'll insert pics because it's unbelievable rough, this car was literally caving in. These cars, they're unitized. Like the floorboards were gone. The structures were gone. And the center hood big enough I could drop this damn can in. There was leaking water right down an open carburetor into the motor. Literally, he said, "I want you to give me an observation and you tell me what you would do. And I said, I'd go find me a new car. I'd go find me a new baby and let this one just die in peace. He goes, I don't want to do that. I want to fix. That's not my car then. I want my car. And I said, you don't understand the amount of money you're about to spend. He said, I don't think you understand the amount of money I make. Who am I to judge? So we were going to start the restoration process. And, I've been down this road numerous times. I've built a lot of cars. I'll blow the dust off my Ford books, start flipping through, start making a list like Santa Claus. And that son of a bitch is about as long as Santa's list of parts that I needed to get this Mustang even started in a body shop. First thing on that list was a tetanus shot. And this thing was rough. Doors falling off of it. The dash had a rust hole in it. I mean, it was probably one of the rustiest Southern cars I've ever seen in my life. I started ordering sheet metal, and front sheet metal for these cars, fenders, hoods, headlight extensions, lower valances, doors, that's nothing. Quarters, inner and outer, wheel tubs, inner and outer inner fenders, taillight panel, rear valance. I replaced every body panel on this car but the deck lid, and we had to work it. Everything, and then I had to buy a parts car because the inner fender structures, the shock towers were so rusty in it, to graft into his Mustang because we wanted to fix his car. I cut a gorgeous 65 Mustang up to Frankenstein this one. VIN numbers right here on the left fender apron. That was the part we saved. And we cut and we put new everything, every piece of sheet metal, all new floorboards, all new floor pans. Hell, we had to replace a section, the B-pillar on the roof of this car. I mean, this thing was that slap ass up with rust. And currently it's in the body shop right now being painted Rangoon red with those white GT stripes sitting under about a mile of clear. And we're going to get it back to shop, and we got us a hot little 289 built on the stand and got 4-wheel disc brakes for it. Got some 17-inch upsized GT 500s going on it, and we're going to put him riding in his dream car again. I like it though. It's neat seeing the car come together. It was a little bit overwhelming, to say the least. My body man threatened to quit 3 times. We wore out 2 good welders putting body panels in it. But at the end of the day, we brought his Mustang back to life. And now, instead of being that rusty turd, I got the best bodied 65 Mustang in town. And so it's kind of neat seeing that one come together. And when we get it done, we're going to have it here, and we're going to, we'll do a full shoot with it and all that stuff. But I don't know, I love the heart that's in these cars. I mean, he was so adamant about, that's not my car. And it's like I told him, I said, you realize for the money you're going to spend on this car, we can find you a nice coupe, a convertible, and a fastback. And I'm not talking about one or the other. I'm talking about all 3. But that's not his Mustang. And I love that. And you kind of got to respect that a little bit, in this throwaway society that we're in, that people, everything, nobody fixes anything. And this guy, he could be riding around enjoying his car now, but he wants his car so his kids can drive it and, share it with their kids. And it's like I told him, he said, I want to make this car where it'll last another 50 years. And so you're not building a car anymore. You're building like a family heirloom for this guy. And I take that to heart with these cars, because you got things to you that are special. This car is extremely special. This guy's a business type. He's not like a car show guy, but you'll see his face light up when he sees that red Mustang sitting there. Something new done to it. I mean, it was like Christmas, and I love it. I love this build. It's extremely way over budget, But you know what? At the end of the day, if it makes you happy, can you really put a price on it? Guys, we'll catch you next time at Rabbit's Used Cars. Me too, I got it. Whatever. Whatever that is. Don't be trying to get fresh from me, Miss Highlighter. I want to see your friend and somebody calls me. My butt's vibrating.
We're gonna do this again. I'm tired of y'all giving me shit about my hoops.
Well, maybe, good Lord. It's like you wear your halo on your earlobes. And then it's time to go home. So I get some caramel pie. Guys, be sure to visit trailermod.com for all your trailer parts needs. Be sure to use promo code RABBIT15 for 15% off your order.